けない君の笑顔が恋しくて星に願うのまた会えるよね
Hello, hello. Okay, it works. New day, new setup. Things have changed once again. I'm doing monitoring in a different way than we did yesterday. Kind of hoping everything works. I'm live on all platforms. The title seems correct on all platforms. Well, that's not correct. Fine. We already found a mistake. The YouTube stream still has the category set to Trackmania. No, wait, what? What? No, it doesn't. On the dashboard, it doesn't say that it's Trackmania. But for some reason, if I join from YouTube and I look in the description, it looks like Trackmania. I don't know, man. Random YouTube shit. So I'll assume everything is fine. There's no category for this game on Twitch, obviously, because it's a demo, so we're just streaming on Games Plus demos. I hope that's what I'm supposed to be doing. Let's see, I'm I'm a little new to Twitch, so I'm not that used to those things, but hopefully it's fine. And I don't get banned for this. But we have huge plans for today. Very special stream. So you might know old friend of the channel Artemis Kandra. We've streamed together in the past and we've been friends for quite a while. Recently she let me know that a friend of hers is working on a visual novel and has a demo out. And I looked a bit at the page and at some stuff that that Artemis showed me. And the art style looks gorgeous. So it's a, from what I can tell, like basically a visual novel fully made out of CGs. There's a lot of effort and it looks really good. I don't know anything about the story yet because I specifically did not want to be spoiled. And so, you know, no info about the story, but visually it looks amazing. There is a demo, it is free. You can type, I don't know if it's gonna work like this, let's see. You can type !! stars end in chat. Yep, and you will get replies Yeah, well, that spammed the chat here a little bit because it's sent on both accounts. But yes, you will get some details from the Streamlabs bot about the game and a link for where you can get it. So, with that being said, it's time to pause the music and let's go to the game. So, I don't know, by the way, I don't know anything about the final game, like how much it's gonna cost or stuff. I just know that the demo is free. Switch to like this. The demo should contain the first 2 chapters from what I've been told, and it does not contain any choices. So it is just a first linear bit of the story. Is it capturing it? Why is the... Yeah, okay, the YouTube stream was black for a little while, I don't know why, but it seems to be working now, so we'll go with it. Cool, let me just quickly move my laptop a little so that I can actually see if new chats happen. Okay. I did go through the settings already just to ensure like that the volume is fine. And I think it should be. So let's start. Depiction of a mess of violence and gore. Okay. So I don't know necessarily what they mean by depictions of gore. Twitch, I'm sorry if anything happens. Let's hope I don't get banned here. We are starting with an interesting name of the month there. We are in Le Meiyuan, the 15th of 3011-19. Well, I guess since we call the current year like 2025, this will probably be just 3119, no? I guess that's how we'll read that. Okay, maybe we take the game a little bit lower in folly. Okay. Oi, guess what I got? The little bell by the door rang whenever someone entered the bakery. We were closed now, so I knew it was Rui before she even spoke. Okay, small pause to talk about this. See what I meant by the gorgeous art style? So, as far as I understood, unlike most classical visual novels that just have like a clear separation between backgrounds and the sprites of the characters that are on screen and that can change, from what I've been told, Star's End doesn't have any sprites for the characters. It's basically just all CGs, right? Which makes it very interesting. It looks very, very good. I just put the last batch of pastries in the oven for today. I sat crouched in front of it, feeling the warmth on my hands and bare underarms. Rui's voice was a pleasant disruption of the monotone humming of the ovens, though I did not mind the latter either. This had been the soundtrack of my mornings for over 7 years now, and I'd gotten used to it. Still, I'd never taken it for granted. A quiet in which I could take in every little detail. Every thud of dough hitting the counter, puff of flour into the air, clattering of cutlery together, clinking of syrup bottles and jars of nuts and spices in the drawers, all wrapped me in a blanket of comfort. Snug yet airy, room to breathe. What is it? I yelled back while I washed my hands under the tap. The water was so cold it hurt, and it clattered on the drain in the floor. Rui came into the kitchen with about 5 big bags of walnuts in her arms, her dress flowing behind her, feet tapping the tile floor. Yeah, this stream is definitely gonna expose my lack of ability to read properly. Peanuts, she exclaimed, and she headed straight to the storage. Peanuts, really? That's so early. It was only just Le Meiyuan, Well, this year's harvest would not have been until Yamahaine. Okay, I assume, so going by the font, that looks like it's an uppercase I, right? So I think in this language we're doing like capitalized mod names, which I think English does as well. Maybe. Well, these are from the south. Ilan pulled some strings in Nike, maybe, and somehow got his hands on a spring badge. I dried my hands with a cloth, threw it over my shoulder, and went to her. I put my hands on the door frame and leaned into the pantry as Rui put in the bags away one by one. The south, I muttered to myself. So, we can make peanut butter cookies again, she said. I'm still just stuck at the art in the background. I love it. Oh yeah, it's been so long. I looked up at all the stacks of ingredients and was reminded of why Sen was usually the one organizing our stock. Rui and I were not the type to count or stack neatly, as evidenced by Rui simply throwing the bags underneath the lowest cupboard. I grinned at it. Did you finish everything here already? Rui then asked. She walked back into the kitchen and peeked in the ovens. I watched her every move and followed. I love the highlights in the eyes. Rui was the first friend I had made here in Laya. She had helped me find my place here. To this day, I was jealous of her poise, her ability to be honest with herself. Though I had become a lot like her over the years, that was not surprising. Despite her younger age, she had been much like a parent to me. Yes, the first batch is already in the front. These are baking for 20 more minutes and the others are ready in the racks. Ooh, that looks delicious. I can't really tell what the filling is, though. I was particularly proud of these pastries. I used the last hazelnuts and dried dates and we had left for the season, so I wanted it to be special. This was my farewell present to winter, and I hoped the others would enjoy them. Alright, perfect. People will be coming soon, she said, looking into the store. The sun fell through the windows of the storefront, all the way into the kitchen. You're dismissed. I'll take it from here, she said. Are you sure? Yes. Ilan might be coming soon anyway. Alright. Done early today then, I suppose. I looked around the bakery, scanning for something I might have forgotten. Go, enjoy the sun, Key. She sweetly smiled at me, her glowing cheeks squinting her eyes. Okay, so my name is Key. I think. I presume. I also presume that based on the Blue Sky post that the creator made. Okay. Say hi to Ilan for me then. Have a good day, Rui. I'll be back tomorrow, I said as I took my apron off and put it in the laundry basket near the side exit. Sure thing. Have a great day. Thank you. The warm air embraced me as soon as I stepped out of the rusty back door. I started walking home, satisfied with my work. I made my way through the small streets and past the little houses. People were outside, children playing, enjoying the newly come spring. It made me happy, seeing all the trees and flowers start to bloom and grow. The winters here on the islands were always mild, rarely snow, and yet every year I was excited to greet spring. When I moved away from home, I could have never dreamed of walking amongst the greenery here, and having it taken away by the cold was a shame. Look at the backgrounds. Okay, I'm gonna gush over the backgrounds quite a lot. I don't know, I love the art style. Though, on the other hand, there was beauty in the shedding of the leaves as well. It made their return that much more special. My house was a little out of town, only a couple 100 meters off-road on the southern side. A 15-minute walk from the bakery. That's a very pretty place to have a house. Also, there's stars in the middle of the day. Impressive, you do not have light pollution. I gathered over a sandy path through the tall grass, my dress floated in the gentle breeze by the sea. A ripple of serenity surged over me every time I started to hear the waves gently hitting the rocks not far below. I greeted the orange saplings in the pots by the shore. Oops. Then, when I turned to my house, I halted. There was an envelope taped to my front door. Am I getting evicted? Oh, that's horrible. Okay, I'm sorry. So we got the creator of the game in chat, but we also got Streamlabs immediately timing them out. Okay, let me fix that because I saw you wrote a long message. I technically disabled that protection on the bot. I told it to not ban long messages. I'm so sorry. I hope you are you still able to see it yourself so that you can at least like copy paste it once I allow it? I hope you don't have to like, oh no, paragraph protection is still active. I'm sorry. I think it's sort of it makes sense to like get rid of bots. But regulars should be allowed. Wait, hold up. I'll make you a regular. Platform Twitch, name, Unti. I'm sorry, I don't know. Okay, the creator of the game is Dutch. I have a big problem with Dutch names. So Unti is going to be what I'll call you. Okay, if you can still copy paste the message, I'm really sorry. You can do it now because you're now a regular on the channel, which should allow you to put paragraphs in chat. I'm sorry. But yeah, that's the person in chat, Unti. I can't see it anymore. Oh, I'm so sorry. He's the developer of the game. So the very fantastic, talented artist. Okay, so let's see if I'm getting evicted here. A dark blue envelope with a yellow stamp on it. I instantly recognized it, but usually they would be discreetly slid under the door. It seemed I was not supposed to miss this one. These letters did not come by any postal service, none that I knew of. I had no idea how she got them here, really, but they arrived somehow. A different tone. Hopefully not a too dark one. I quickly ripped the envelope off the door and took it inside. Seeing how this one was put in plain sight, I felt more reluctant than usual to open it. It's fine, I just wanted to let you know that's indeed some blood splatter in chapter 1.5. So be aware of that. I think I can show blood splatters on Twitch. I think this stream should be I hope it is, let me check, but it should be marked as mature audiences anyway, because this category on Twitch, the Games Plus Demos category, is a mature category by default. Yes. So I am mature rated game, and let me also, okay. I can also mark it as, I don't know if I need to mark it as significant profanity, because I swear sometimes, but rarely, and I feel like in this video it's not going to be the case. Violent and graphic depictions, simulations and or depictions of realistic violence. Okay, I think we're fine. This is not it's not realistic violence. So I don't think we are going to run into any problems really. Okay. Thank you for letting me know though. So I threw it on the table and just stood there, glaring at it. It had been months since the last one. I thought she did not have anything to say to me anymore, but now, I guess something has changed. A cold sweat formed on my skin. Alright, what is it, Mom? I said to myself as I sat down and opened the envelope with a sigh. It was a short letter. Okay, this is gonna be interesting, weird. Kimei Layana Uki Amaotikatsu. So, okay, for context, I have been warned by Artemis about this. There is a whole entire made-up language in this game. A language created by Unti, and which, like, from what I understood, he created a full, like, alphabet and everything for this language. So, we're gonna struggle with this a bit through the game, but it's gonna be fun. This letter is not a part of our usual correspondence. I hereby order you to come to Nirla this instant. Leave the day you read this letter. I wish to speak to you in person. The necessary tickets and paperwork for your journey from Laya to Nirla are appended. While I understand this is sudden, I will send my agents if I do not see you by the 15th of Yeme Yuan. Please comply. In Nirla, you'll be escorted to me. Kind regards, Ate, the third star, in the name of the Astral Order. My mind stood completely still. No words, no thoughts could convey what I felt in that moment. I thought I would never have to go back. This is what she had told me. My thumb brushed over her sigil, drawn with thin, deep blue ink. What could have made her take that back? Did a relative pass away? No, she'll just tell me in writing. Did something happen to Dad? Or did she just want to see me? And if it was so important, why did she not come visit me here? She had a much easier time getting around the country. Why would I have to come all the way? I threw the letters back on the table before rubbing my face. I had a horrible feeling about this, but right now there was nothing I could do but comply. Worrying could not give me any answers. If I wanted to know, I had to pack my things and go. Besides, I would rather travel there on my own accord than wait for her people to come get me. I shook my head lightly. This was fine, I told myself, but it took effort. My heart thumped loudly against my ribs, making it hard to concentrate. I shifted my gaze out the window to the trees dancing in the breeze. Then I got up and started packing my bag. How long would I be gone for? I did not dare to think about that question, so I just packed one spare outfit and made sure everything important was in my purse. I took my wallet, some money, official documents, keys, toiletries, my notebook and pens, and a lunchbox with some food. Finally, I added 2 knitting needles and some yarn. Gotta get the hobbies as well. It all fit perfectly in my backpack. I put it on, slid my coat through one of my shoulder straps so I didn't have to carry it, and put my purse over my shoulder. I don't have to go now, but I hope you enjoy. Will you post the stream so I can watch it later? Yeah. So I don't know if I will edit it down into an edited version. I would love to, but it takes so much time, so I don't know if I can. But the actual like full VOD itself is automatically saved both to Twitch and YouTube. So I recommend, if you want to watch the replay, watch the YouTube version, because that one is in better quality and resolution and everything. But yeah, VODs are always available. Oh, also a small mention, and this is to everyone watching either the VOD or currently live. Because of the way I use VOD tracks on Twitch, if you're watching the VOD of this on Twitch right now, you will not hear any game audio. Not the music of the game, not sound effects, not nothing. So I heavily encourage for the VOD to go watch it on YouTube. That one will contain all of the proper audio. Let me also test something out and then we'll continue the game. Okay, all good, we're good. Well, let's go then, I said to myself as I looked around my house one last time. Now go. The little bell at the bakery signaled my presence this time, but it was drowned out by chatter of the customers by the counter. I walked past them and slid into the kitchen. Rui looked up from putting a tray of freshly baked cream buns on the stone counter. Though it seemed like an eternity since I had been here, it had been no more than an hour. The same scent was steaming over the ovens. Some of my pastries were still cooling on the counter. "Hey, back already?" she asked. I stood stiff. I need to leave Delilah today. I got a letter. My family wants me to come to Nirla immediately, I said. Rui shook her head in confusion. "Wait, what? You're going to the capital? Why?" "I honestly don't know. They want to speak to me, and it seems very urgent. They want me to be there in 2 days, so I need to leave now. I'm really sorry, but I can't refuse. I won't be here for a while." "Okay," she said. "Then I suppose you've got to go. Are you taking the train to Nike?" "Yeah, my boat leaves in 3 hours. I really wish I didn't have to, Rui. I'd much rather stay here." "It's okay, Ki. You gotta do what you gotta do. I'll go by your house to take care of the plants, okay? And I'll tell Tsen you won't be here for a while." She put her fist on her hips and gave me a reassuring smile. "Thank you so much. I stopped myself. "I hope I'll see you again," were the words on the tip of my tongue, but I do not want to admit to the possibility that I never would. "Are you nervous to see them? It must have been a while," Rui said. "Yeah, I'm just worried." She put her pot holders aside, came up to me, and laid her hand on my upper arms. That's such a cute CG. "I'm sure you'll be okay. Gonna miss you though, Ki. Be back soon, okay?" "I'll try. I'll miss you too," I said. We gently bumped our foreheads together. "You better get me a souvenir," she said. I chuckled. "Like a postcard?" She playfully punched me in the shoulder. "You know what I want." Okay, yes. Ow. "I'll try to find you old few seeds," I exclaimed while laughing. "That would mean the world to me, Ki," she said with a smug but gentle smile. "Should be no problem. You can count on those," I said. "Amazing. Now go. Don't want to miss your boat," she said, patting my arm. "Well, honestly, wouldn't mind missing it," I sighed, walking towards the exit. "Well, seems they really want you there for something. I guess. You just can't be anything good, that's for sure." "Right. Well, you better make sure they're okay. Come." Rui adjusted the collar of my shirt, then laid her small hands on my cheek. "I'm sorry for leaving you guys here." "Oh, don't worry. We'll keep it running." "I'm sure you will. Well, goodbye, Rui." I opened the door and went out into the streets again. Now with a much heavier feeling. "Goodbye, Ki. Have a safe travel." My walk to Färinen took about 30 minutes. It was nice in the sun, but the bad feeling kept following me that whole journey. Like a shadow walking right behind me, urging me to hurry. I tried to just focus on walking. Walking along the coastal path to Färinen. Walking up the steps to the station, walking down the platform to the last wagon, walking down the aisle of the carriage. That was such a cool CG to draw for one shot. Damn. Then I sat. My gaze was fixed on the back of the seat in front of me. I held my backpack on my lap, and I did not move for a moment. Then I looked out the window. People were walking on the platform, saying goodbye to loved ones, hugging. Some had trouble holding all their luggage. Some were still finishing a quick meal on one of the benches. I took out my journal and started to write. The Dream River. So I think these are just scenes. I don't think these are chapters necessarily. Because Unity said something would happen in chapter 1.5, A Rude Welcome. Oh yeah, and also there's only 2 chapters in this entire demo, so definitely not. Färinen was the only town nearby with a train station. Here, on the outer islands, That was already quite a luxury. The mid-south of Nikera Island was quite remote, but not too far from Nika, its capital. The train ride would take about an hour and a half, and Nika's central station was close to the harbor, so I would be well in time. The first part of the journey went smoothly, fortunately. I had to wait in line almost 20 minutes before I could get onto the boat. I did not mind, for the sun was starting to go easy on us, and the air became nice and cool. A warm breeze came into the harbor, carrying seabirds along the pink sky. I was not fond of being surrounded by water, bobbing up and down at the mercy of the Fier River. Of course, it had its beauty, and I greatly admired that, but unfortunately my stomach did not agree and I would get terribly seasick. Therefore, I planned on just sleeping through the whole journey. Okay, that sounds crazy. I feel like I would get so much more seasick if I tried to sleep. I fiddled the little key I was given as I mindlessly followed the stream of people up the stairs into the sleeping quarters of the boat. The people pressing behind made me restless, so when I was on the right floor, I walked all the way to the end of the hallway. People in front and behind me went left and right one by one to their own cabins, dragging their suitcases behind them. There were families and friends I am incapable of reading. There were families and friend groups going on vacation in the big cities, solo travelers going away for business, and plenty of others traveling for their own mysterious purposes, like me. I walked all the way to the front of the ship, well past my own cabin. I passed all of the doors until I stood before a window at the end of the hallway. It had no glass, so the breeze caught my hair. It made me notice some of my hair had become untied, so I redid my bun while I washed the deck below. Tiny sailors were walking around, preparing the boat for departure. We looked out on the north from here. The river, much like a sea here, even in the bay that the port lay in, was still. Soon we would leave the Peak Passage and be out on the open far. Here, on the outer islands, the river was so vast you could not see the other side. Behind the embrace of the island, there was nothing even. The fur ended, disappearing seamlessly into the ocean. Who knew what lay on the other side? My train of thought was rudely interrupted by a screeching seabird flying by the window. "Hey, what are you screaming at, dear?" I said quietly, and I smiled at the bird that had landed on a railing nearby. It was an Aegis, a large light grey bird, almost blue, with black stripes on its wings and bright orange feet and beak. It screeched again. I can't go... Yeah, wait, I can't go back. I love the detail around the eye. That looks so cool. It's the Mike Tyson bird. Okay, I'll leave. Don't worry, I said with a chuckle. The hallway behind me was now empty, save for a handful of young travelers talking quietly. I started walking back and soon found my cabin. The key slid smoothly in the lock, clicked and opened. The cabin was tiny, of course, but it was comfortable. It looks cozy. It also doesn't look that tiny. Also, okay, well, yeah, I guess the thing above the bed is for baggages. It would be so cool if you could climb up there. I think you would probably fall, but it'd be funny. There was a small table with a low stool on the left, a bed with drawers under it on the right, and a small window in the side. Through it, the late afternoon sun flowed in. I put my backpack, coat, and purse on the bed before taking a look in the small mirror on the wall. I looked myself in the eyes. You look sad. I look sad. We look sad. They were red, my hair was a frizzy mess, and my eyelids were twitching. The eyes looked so cool. I was dreading my arrival in Nirla. I had no desire to be there, and no desire to see my mother if it were not for the concerning nature of her letter. I loved her, I truly did, and I needed to convince myself of it. I sighed, massaged my cheeks, and closed my eyes as I undid my hair and slid my flats off. My hair was getting long, it already reached my waist, and it was getting harder to manage. Okay, this portrait, in a very, very weird way, slightly reminds me of the art style of the portraits from Fear and Hunger. I don't know why, because the rest of the art style of the game doesn't, because obviously Fear and Hunger is a pixelated game. Also, obviously, Fear and Hunger is a horror game. But I don't know why this has a bit of the mood. I slowly calmed it, sitting on the stool by the bed, trying to keep my thoughts in order. There was really nothing for me to think about. The travel had been fully arranged. As soon as the boat came to Nirla, I would be awaited by my mother's people. Then I would simply listen to what she had to say and go back home as soon as possible. I hope so. That was all. No need to worry. My prep dinner stared at me from my lunchbox, but the nausea was already setting in. The boat had departed, and the humming of the engines filled the whole quarters. After I managed to eat some of my dinner anyway, I changed into my nightgown and went to bed. The boat would take about 9 hours to reach the capital upstream. I thanked the world that it allowed me to sleep through most of them. A rude welcome. Oh, that's okay. I guess this is chapter 1.5. I was warned by Unti that this is a bit of a more of a graphical chapter, but it should still be fine under the rules of YouTube and Twitch. The boat arrived at the port of Nirla at 4:23 in the morning. I was still fast asleep by then, as were most people, so it was 7:41 when I set foot on Nirla land. And after handing the cabin key and having my papers checked, I passed into the city key building, the reception hall of Nirla, where all boat travelers entered and left the city under the watch of the government. We're having a little bit of a authoritarian thing happening. Security checks were stricter than I remembered. My whole bag was turned inside out. It was incredibly busy here, even at such an early hour. To be expected from the center of Ichunzane, where all paths of knowledge intersected. I meandered into the main hall. Streams of people with luggage, signs with departure times and ship codes, advertisements, shops. I instantly hated it. Now, the ball was in my mother's court. I knew where to find her myself, but I would not be allowed anywhere near her without the escort she sent, so all there was to do was wait. I sat down on a bench for a moment, but I was awful at sitting still, especially in such a busy place, so I started wandering the building. Ticket vendors were behind counters, newspaper sellers walking around, and guards standing by the pillars. The city key was gorgeous. It was a mall-like building with shiny marble floors. The ceiling, 3 floors up, was of colored glass, large lamps hanging down from it. I walked under it, looking at all the people I passed. There were posters hung up on every pillar. Can I read any of this? Oh wait. Okay, right-click does not disable the text box. No, this is all in the language that I mentioned that we do not know. Advertisements for clothing, music, theater performances, and much more, but also public service announcements. The cool part is, from what I've been told, this is an actual language invented by Unti. I don't think it's just the alphabet, I'm not sure. But that means at least some of the text on these posters might actually mean something. I'm not sure, but they might. One stood out to me. It was everywhere. A picture of a young person, accompanied by the text, "Attention, if seen, report immediately. Do not engage." I feel like that's a little much for me. Right? Scary. It is scary. Busy cities were like this. More people, higher chances of something going wrong. Nirla had a magical side as well, for sure. The enormous pine trees on the square as the whole neighborhood cared for. The canals full of fur water creeping through and underneath the little streets, the lovely yellow lights at night. I liked it. But that did not weigh up against the darkness. The political games, the criminal organizations, and the endless amount of voices chattering every possible opinion on anything at all at the same time. That's just Twitter. The game just described Twitter. Like, there's cool yellow light sometimes. Sometimes people post like cool art or stuff. But there's so many opinions, and almost none of them asked for. And half of them are mine. I'm part of the problem. Suffocating. That is how I remember this city. I had lived here for a few months as a teenager when my dad moved here and I stayed with him. My eye fell on a group of people waiting by the wall. 3 people wearing pleated trousers under mahogany brown coats. Typical to this place and typical to lower ranks of the Astral Order. They were looking out for someone, and once their eyes fell on me, they found it. I found the escorts. I let them approach me, but that was scary. I convinced myself that it was because of the place, not them. I observed their every move. They did not have... Oops, my bad. They did not have luggage apart from a single shoulder bag on one of them. Now that they were closer, I could see their clothes better. Coats of the lower ranks had sunflowers on them, one of the many old symbols that had lost their true meanings over time. Now I had seen many of these coats in my life. I had worn one once, when we celebrated that my nephew had just been recruited by the Order. The 6-year-old key I had begged to try on. The 6-year-old key I had begged to try on the iconic coat. What? I don't know if that's my fault. Oh wait, why did I just do key I? It's just key The 6-year-old key had begged to try on the iconic coat. I always hoped I would wear one someday. Now it seemed ridiculous. Me? Serving the government? Not in a billion years. I barely pay my taxes. Kimi Amauitika, one of them said as they came near me. A tall person in her 40s with her hair put up. As she approached, I noticed she wore powder on her face. Still, it did not fully hide the scars carved in her cheeks. She called me by my name. While that felt natural, they were not supposed to do that. The Astral Order did not use my name. I took a while to respond, then I just said, "Yes?" "Good morning. We are here to escort you," she said. I straightened my posture and tipped my head up slightly. "Good morning," I said. My heart was racing in my chest. They must have heard it. I had little time to even consider their words or faces further, because right then, in silence, the tall person was shot in the temple. Don't tinnitus me. I put the game quieter. It's still tinnitusing me. Don't you dare. Yep, that's what NT warned me about. They were definitely shot. Blood splattered everywhere. I think some even got into my eye. It seems so. Considering how much got on your face, I'm surprised not more got into your eye. At first, I did not know what had happened, to the point where I thought it was mine. It was immediately followed by my head hitting the ground. My forehead burst onto the stone. I rolled onto my back. I saw the ceiling for a moment, but then the sun went out. Damn. That is a rude welcome. Welcome to the Astral Order. Someone of the Astral Order rubbed some alcohol on my brow and cheek with a cotton pad. I'm going to have to suture it, too. I muttered. I lay on a table in a small, brightly lit room. The nurse's office of the city key, I assumed. I remembered some screaming, Many footsteps and being carried, but no more. The nurse tilted my head back and began stitching the cut in my forehead. All I felt was the warm blood running down the side of my head. I stared at the ceiling, my fingers intertwined on my belly. If it hadn't been for the paralyzing shock, I would have freaked out at the gloved hands on the needle and the needle so near me. There we go, as good as new, he said, and he cleaned my face with a wipe before dressing the wound. You can sit up, he added as he rolled away on his stool and took his gloves off. I slowly sat up, still a bit dizzy. It's been a long time, Kime, Aluma, who had been leaning against the table, said. Almost 7 years, I replied. What just happened? She gave me a sad smile. My old acquaintance looked vastly different from when I last seen her. She wore her uniform and carried a gun and sword, a bright orange sunflower on her chest. We had been close years ago because our parents were friends, but it had not lasted. Just a minor disturbance, nothing to worry about. Quite a surprise to see you, though. I did not think you'd come here again, she said. Wasn't my choice. As expected, she snickered. I was told to pick you up so you wouldn't go wandering, like you usually do. She sighed. Nothing happened, Kime. You just fell. We'll give you something to eat and then we're getting you to the ministry. That's not how I remember it. But we'll go with the word of the authority for now. But I heard several other guards came to the room at that moment, in the same uniforms as Aluma. One of them held up a paper bag. There's your food. Don't ask any more questions. Agreed? Aluma said. I nodded. I did not say a word when the 3 guards walked me to the ministry, not too far up the main road. Alma left soon after, and I was taken behind the main hall into the little hallways, up enormous staircases, all the way to a large, lonely door. It feels weird that my mother's place would be so close to the entrance of the city. Like, you'd think, she seems highly ranked from what I can tell. You'd think the higher ranks would be, like, more protected, like, further inside the city, you know? The guards that stood on either side of it were masked and stood still like statues. I always wondered whether they were real. I had seen this door before, though not often. It was deep blue in color and made of rough wood, out of place in the spotless building. It was centuries old. I waited in the front of the door, in a large hall with the black tiled flooring, tall windows, and curtains all over the walls. I paced around for a while, trying not to mind the stares of the guards. It was odd to be back here, in the heart of the Astral Order, the organization that had power over most of the known world. For all of us here in Yuchinzane, it was all we knew to have authority, because they controlled the spirits. I trotted back to my place when one of the doors started to open slowly. Another guard let me enter. I came into a large, dimly lit hall. The Continental Legislative Palace, where over 200 million lives were ruled from. Big-ass statues. Hell yeah. Before me was an aisle leading me past the rows of chairs of the members to the elevated seats at the end of the hall. Above the cabinet were 5 large chairs, like thrones, looking out over everyone present. Seated in them were the 5 Citadel mages, the ones in control of it all. Given that title based on pure skill and knowledge, they ruled their realm with strict laws and purpose, trying to keep everyone safe from those trying to abuse Kea, spirit manipulation. Everyone in the hall was able to manipulate spirits to some extent, but the mages' wisdom and power exceeded that of all, and they were greatly respected and feared. I love that we mostly feared. I love that we have ranks. of like the ones at the top being golden and having like each their own crown. I assume they customized it in some way. And then the middle ones are just all purple and the lower ones are all blue. They also seem differently sized physically, but that might just be an illusion, I'm not sure. I stood in the middle of the whole parliament looking down at me. Once before them, one was left at their mercy. They could kill you with just a glance if you displeased them. But I was not afraid of that. Because one of them was my mother. A hall of eyes. In the second chair from the left, she sat. Ate, the third star. To me, she was just Unim Amauitica, or Mom. My mother wore a robe, golden jewelry, and fabric gloves similar to those of the guards. All in this hall wore bright turquoise masks, indicating their rank. Higher ranks of the order did not show their faces often. I hated it. I had to look into the big black glass eyes of the masks. They did not have any other features, just a smooth turquoise enamel with two dead eyes. I recognized my mother by her clothing only, her blue corset and a deep violet gem placed on her chest, trimmed in gold. Her hair and neck were covered by dark blue cloth. No skin was visible on any of the people. And there I was, my face, hair, and arms exposed, in just a shirt and a dress. She had never seen me like this, so rural, and I was terrified of what she thought. I hesitantly walked up to the mages, clutching the strap of my purse. I passed the shadows of people. Their clothing was gorgeous, I had to admit. But the detailed patterns, expensive fabrics, and extravagant jewelry had never been for me. No one moved a muscle, and yet their eyes found a way to follow me. The black marbles were all-seeing. My mother had looked up as soon as I entered the palace. "Mi figlio," my mother said in a clear, noble voice. I had not heard it in 7 years. It was loud in the quiet anticipation of the rest of the room. "Mi rifio." That is what they called me. The river spirit, the descendant of the gods. And so it was also my name, whenever I needed to be rescued to a mere concept. Wait, I messed up that line. And so it was also my name, whenever I needed to be reduced to a mere concept. "Mom, what's going on?" I muttered, feeling my eyes start to burn with tears. I do not think my voice even reached her. "Why am I here?" I asked more clearly. The stares of her adherents burned into me. "Mi rifio, welcome," one of the other mages said. They reached out their hand to me. "Sit." Invisible hands pushed me down. My body collapsed, and with a gasp I sat on my knees on the floor. The mages all looked down on me. I looked around in confusion, starting to panic. I knew this would happen. Why did I come here? I did not want this. I never asked for this. This place was haunted. It sounds so considering you were just feeling pushed to the ground. "Mi figlio," one of the other leaders spoke. "In the name of the Seven and River, you have been declared a security risk of the highest degree and are hereby in immediate custody of the Astral Order." I looked up at the lifeless mage. "What?" "We have spoken," another said calmly. "A security risk? How so? What does that mean?" "I am not in anyone's custody," I objected. Head slowly turned to my mother. "Mi figlio," she said sternly. "This is no time to be insubordinate. You shall obey." No, what in the world? You can't do this. Yes, we can. I mean, it's simple enough. Yeah, they are, according to what we've been told by the game so far, yeah, they kind of can. Mom? I mean it. What? My mother kept silent, simply staring. Your tone is not appreciated, another mage spoke, probably referring to both the content of my speech and the lack of honorifics in it. The way I had reassured myself the day before seemed so dishonest now. Futile. Naive. I apologize, I muttered. One nod is all I got in response. Yuinir Maui, they then spoke. One of the adherents was summoned. I looked behind me and saw someone standing up from their seat and walking towards me. For a second, I thought I knew them. Oh, hi. Welcome. You stood next to me. Also, they're purple, so they're middle ranked. The name got stuck in my throat. I thought I would be executed right then and there. But then I saw better, and they were not familiar at all. The adherent sat down on their knees next to me. They wore golden jewelry, a corset, and a purple headband, along with their mask, of course. What stood out, however, is that they wore pants. Not uncommon among high ranks, but it indicated that they worked in the field and had to be able to move swiftly. A soldier. Yuinir Maui is your guard. He will have full authority over you, one of the leaders said. I sent my mother a concerned glance, but it was ignored. For how long? I asked. Indefinitely. I can't be away from home for too long. That is not our concern. I swallowed. I will speak with Mifuri shortly. Now you are dismissed. My mother cut it short. Yuinir, the advisor next to me, stood up and looked down at me. You have very glowy eyes. Follow me, he said. I stared at him in shock. Truly, what had I come home to? I reluctantly stood up. He bowed to the mages. I simply stood there, then followed him out of the hall. Melina Anne Yuimir. These chapter names are getting harder to pronounce. When the guards closed the doors behind us, we both stood still for a moment, thinking. The advisor's head slowly turned towards me, never truly meeting my gaze. He was tall, stood up straight, and held his arms behind him. Allow me to introduce myself, he then said, and he held up one hand. I lay mine flat on his, accepting his greeting. I am Melina Anne Yuimir, advisor under Atezan's direct command. I will oversee your stay here in Nirla for as long as it might last. It is my pleasure. I hated when people called her Ate, as if she was not human. That was the goal, I knew that. They were supposed to seem like gods, but it annoyed me nonetheless. They did not know her at all. How's your head, Mirifu? Don't call me that, I grumbled, looking around the hallway for a moment. For an escape that was not there, perhaps. Just say Ki. No, but we can settle on Kime, if you insist. Order members in their bluntness. Wait, how did he know my... fine. That's fine too. That is good to hear. Now please, follow me to my office, he spoke calmly. Way too calm from a head full of thoughts. Wait, tell me what's going on. Why am I a security risk? Why am I in custody? I understand you are concerned, he replied, but I have been ordered not to give any additional information. He started to walk away. I quickly followed, recognizing that this person was my only anchor right now. No, wait. Are you really not going to tell me anything? I asked. Atezan will come to my office shortly, he said. His voice was deep and calm like hers. She wishes to explain it personally. Okay, and then what? What's going to happen? I walked a little behind him through the hallways, but I knew he was aware of my presence. Today I would suggest that you rest. It seems you had a long day already. Melina brought me to an office on the lower floor. It was eerily quiet in the building. A handful of people passed us, clearly puzzled as to how I got there. It had been a long time since I'd seen those cases, but they were not unfamiliar. New clothing has already been arranged for you, Melina said, as we descended the stairs. We passed antique paintings and tapestries depicting the old stories. New clothing? I raised my eyebrows at the steps below me. It would suit you to conform to Nederland conventions, both in terms of appearance and behavior. How long am I staying here? You already asked the mages that. No need to repeat yourself. My answers would not be any different. It seemed not much has changed. I feared the worst, that people had found out I existed. We are here. Melina abruptly stopped, almost making me bump into him. With an old key, he opened one of the many doors in the long hallway. He let me go first into the large office. Tall bookshelves covered virtually all the walls, except for the two windows letting the early afternoon sun. Behind the desk also hung an enormous map of our continent, Page. I slowly paced towards it. The edges were blank, never seen by cartographers before. At least no cartographer from here. For people there, perhaps each Unzane was no more than a nameless blank space. The map had some red markings on it. Not sure what they were supposed to mean. Yeah, a couple, including a whole ass territory in the top right. My eyes unintentionally fell on Laya, so far away. Not even marked, so small. So much water between me and my house. I missed Rui. Melina went to the desk and stacked some lingering papers. This is your office? I asked as nonchalantly as I could. Yes, Melina replied. So, I swallowed. What do you do? I started walking past the bookshelves. Some were partly covered by the curtains. An attempt to calm myself, as far as that was possible. Old books, most with titles I could not read. They used drawings to write our language instead of letters. Most people in the order could read that, but I never bothered to learn. Okay, hold up, I feel like I asked her something. Sorry, him, I think, right? Yes, I think it's a him. I asked him something. I lay my hand on the top of a blue book, gold inlaid in its cover. It looked pretty. You have very demonic noises, sir. Before I could pull it out, however, Melina placed his gloved hand on mine. Please refrain from touching anything without permission. I was numbed for a moment. Sorry, understood. I nodded and quickly pulled my hand away from his. Melina went back to the desk and sat down. I do many things, he said. Mostly research, but also teach. Additionally, I am assigned to tasks like this. He gestured at the two chairs in front of his desk. Take a seat. I shuffled to one of them and put on my backpack on the floor beside me. This was incredibly awkward. I tried to look at anything but him. There was nothing to see, and yet with every movement he made, my eyes shot back at him. He took a blank paper out of a drawer, opened a bottle of black ink, holding a handkerchief so his gloves would not be tainted, dipped his pen into it, and started writing something. You are a baker, correct? He asked. Amongst other things, I said, following the point of his pen dancing across the paper. Say, where am I supposed to sleep tonight? You will sleep in my guest room. I'm going to your house. Yes. He calmly kept writing. My eyes widened. But I don't understand any of this. Now he did look up. I'd rather he did not, to be honest. He looks so creepy. I love how the masks and the eyes are drawn. The eyes of the mask were disorienting, so dark that whenever they were pointed at me, I felt I would fall into them and never get out. Like an abyss. Be patient, Kime. Answers will come soon, he simply said. So I'm supposed to stay with you? But I barely brought anything. Ate-san has prepared well for your stay. There are clothes and toiletries waiting for you. There's nothing to worry about. A dry, nervous chuckle escaped my lips. Of course. Is that an issue? She always picks clothes I don't like, I complained, dropping into the chair. Melina chuckled. Well, perhaps she's willing to negotiate, but I will not count on it. His chuckle felt out of place. People like him were not supposed to do that. He suddenly stood up and walked to the door. When he opened it, my mother took a few steps into the office, then stopped and just looked at me. Even with the mask on, I could tell she was not happy with me. Tough love and half-truths. Kime, my mother spoke, and I stood up, ready to take the scolding. Mom. So, fun fact. Hello, Artemis. Welcome to the stream. It seems the countryside had corroded your memory, and any sense of etiquette had become foreign to you. But instead, she came to me and took me into her arms. I'm pretty sure the clothing in this is based on some traditional Dutch clothing. Well, would make sense, considering the origin of the creator. But damn, that would be some crazy-ass clothing. Wait, can you either DM me some pictures of that? Or like tell me what I can look up? That sounds cool. I am glad you have managed to forget things. Nevertheless, I have missed you. You have, I muttered, letting her pull me into her embrace. I lay my head on her chest, staring into nothing. Yes. It was rare for her to show this kind of affection with a stranger in the room. Her gentle side stunned me after so many years of sober letters. It was comforting, but I did not let it keep me from getting answers. What's going on, Mom? What does this all mean? The demand escaped me. I would have looked up at her, but it would not have made a difference. There was no reassurance to be found in her enamel face. Sit with me, Kime. She led me back to the chair and sat next to me while Melina kept standing by the desk, his hands behind him again. He did not look at anything in particular, as if he was on standby. He got put into sleep mode. I DM'd you some pics. Okay, wait, let me pull it up. Pull it up. Oh, I see it. I kind of see it. Wait, let me let's find one of them to pull up on stream. I'll do the second one because it contains two images. Can I copy paste an image into OBS? Oh god. Oh god. I messed up my Hold up. I messed up my OBS before stream today. Sorry, chat. I messed up the OBS. Sources, there it is. And I'll put this here. Let me get the scenes thing back as well. Okay, there it is. Okay. Can I just... Okay, let me make sure I have copied the correct thing in my clipboard. Can I paste? No. Okay, that's fine. We're gonna save the image to downloads. and then add source. I can do this. I can do this. I know how to do this. Image. Dutch clothing. Image file. Downloads. Make sure I open the right one. Here it is. Yep. Got it. We got it. So this is what Artemis DM'd me. And I think you can kind of see it, especially with the way, oh god, you can't see my my cursor, but the way the thing flows like from the shoulders and down to the other shoulder, right? I think that's very reminiscent. And obviously the thing around the head. I assume that's mostly what Artemis was talking about, right? You are what? Artemis is a moderator. Hell, I forgot about that. But yeah, I think it's mostly about the things around the head. Yeah, and the gold details. Yeah, makes sense. I don't see the gold details in this picture because this one is black and white. But if I wait, hold up. Let's pull the other image as well. I can do this. Image, touch, clothing 2. Here, this is the other image that Artemis has sent me. Let's put both of them side by side. So yeah, you can definitely see the inspiration, especially with the gold details as well and the things on the head. Really cool. But that's just what my first thought was when I saw Inti post some of the designs. Yeah, makes sense. You're in danger, my mother said. Are we not always? Yes, I'm aware. What in the world is going on? She held up her hand. Here, you're safe. Allow me to explain. The hand then lowered and rested on my thigh. Your existence has become known. You are in custody so we can protect you. I swallowed. You always said that wouldn't happen, I said, a lot quieter this time. I did not foresee this, unfortunately, but we will take care of it, I assure you. So this is bad. Of course, this is something I've been prepared for. The current risk is low. Low risk? But this morning at the port, someone got shot, I informed her, as calmly as I could. That was but a minor threat. Information about you is spreading rapidly, so it was to be expected. Crazy. The people getting shot is very rarely expected. That's only expected in very few circumstances. I started at the desk, my arms hugging my waist for some semblance of comfort. Milena was still a statue, ever listening and probably analyzing every word of the conversation. Who is it? Who's after me? How do they know? I cannot say. But I said I cannot say. I swallowed. Why is this happening? I then mumbled. I knew why, but perhaps I was hoping for a different answer. As I've told you before, there are many people that intend to pressure me, and you are the perfect tool to do so, for they know you cannot perform Kea. Damn, I'm weak as fuck. Can't even manipulate souls. Right. You know I do not hold that against you, but it is the truth. She spoke slowly, giving me time to process every word. But you can't just... I can, Kime. I regret that I could not keep my promise, but you need to leave this to me, she interrupted. Give in. I felt myself flush in both embarrassment and anger. How could she? You understand that this is necessary to keep you safe, yes? I cannot leave my defenseless child all on her own. She spoke in a higher voice than usual, leaning in a little towards me. I bit the inside of my cheek. Of course I understand that, but I at least hoped that when this would happen, you would come to tell me personally, not just send a letter. I looked down at my lap. My mother's fingers on my thigh tensed up a little. Yes, I understand, she said quietly. In the silence, I felt my heartbeat in my hand and throat, making breathing difficult. Oh, don't look at me. Go back. Look back at your daughter. Don't look at me. I should have, Kime. I'm aware. I had no excuse, she mumbled, and she looked the other way. Something she did not often do, and she might have been embarrassed that her advisor saw her like this. After a deep breath, she spoke again. It is okay to be angry, and it is okay to not want this, but now you need to listen to us. Can I see your face? I found myself asking, looking into her eyes, or rather what obscured them, 2 black marbles. Not here, Kime. Of course, no hesitation. Why can I not stay with you? She let out a sharp breath. I have other things to tend to. Guilt seeped from under her mask. A rare occurrence. I could do nothing but nod. She took back her hand and laid it on her own lap, sitting up straight. Does Dad know I'm here? I asked. Drink some water. He does, but he does not have time to come to see you yet. I felt somewhat sorry for Melina. I bet he did not anticipate getting such an insight into his mighty leader's family life. But I cannot say it did not bring me some satisfaction, being able to expose my mother's humanity, something she so desperately tried to hide. A way to even the playing fields ever so slightly. Do you have any more questions? My mom asked carefully. None that you will answer. Good. Then, Kime, I will have to leave now. She stood up and bowed over me, holding my face gently and letting the mask touch my forehead ever so slightly. I will come see you again later today, she added. Then she walked to the door. Melina followed her, and I scrambled to get myself together to rush after her. I trotted to her and wrapped my arms around her waist, pressing myself against her cold uniform. Despite everything, it was good to see her again. Her protection was valuable to me, even if it was rarely genuine. Oh dear, she whispered, and she wrapped her arms around me. I missed you too, I muttered against her chest. I am glad. Now, you listen to Yui Nirimawi. He has been instructed properly. Do not be stubborn. I'll try. And please, do not talk to the other mages the way you did ever again. You rude little fool. She tipped my head up, squeezing my cheeks a little. You embarrassed me. You shouldn't care about what they think, I agreed with a frown, flushing at her rare playfulness. Now it was my turn to be embarrassed by the advisor's presence. That is true. Well, I truly must go now. I will see you tonight, darling. Allow Yuna to take care of you, she said softly, taking my hands off her. See you later, Mom, I said quietly, watching her hurry out of the office. Her words were not new. They had been said many times before. Even now, they were weirdly comforting, as if I had never been gone, as if I were still that 20-year-old Key. An erasure of the 7 years that had passed since then. A dismissal of how much I had grown in Lila, or a failure of me to express that growth. I wondered what she honestly thought of me. I had to tune out now because I haven't read this chapter yet and I want to keep my video genuine. Yeah, fair. That's fair. I'll try to edit this down into a video as well. But I don't know, it's hard. I have to edit both this and I have some Trackmania content to edit. But the Trackmania thing is already like 4 hours of content. Around 4 hours. So that's gonna be tough to edit down. But I'm hoping since this game is probably a little bit shorter, I can get this one edited sooner. I wondered whether she was proud in any way. My gaze lingered on the door for a moment longer. I was not sure how to go on now. Bye-bye. The advisor let me stand there. Would you like some water? He then asked. I shook my head. Alright, please excuse me. I need to finish some work before we leave. It will not be long. Take a seat or lay down on the couch if you wish. He gestured to the couch by the wall of the office. I floated back to the chair by the desk and sat down once more. It seemed he understood and went about his work. Writing, sorting some papers, whatever. I slowly but surely reclined, my head falling onto the backrest. And my eyes closed. The Watergate. Hold up, I didn't know we were gonna talk about history here. Kime. I opened my eyes to see the advisor sitting across me, his hands folded on the desk. It is about time we go. Where are we going? I spoke drowsily. I would have loved to just sleep through this entire day. Like I said, we're going to my house in Hawi, he said, putting his pen away in its case. Hawi? That's on the other side of the city. Are we taking the train? No, no need. We shall travel by water, he said, and I frowned. Are we going to jump in the river? Yes. We're gonna swim? What happens if you can't swim? I can't swim. I don't know how to swim. I don't want that, I argued, sitting up. Some strands of hair fell beside my head, as if I had slept for hours, but it could not have been more than 30 minutes. Why not? He asked calmly. I can't do that, I said. You will go with me. He stood up and picked up his briefcase. The black marbles of his mask suddenly drifted to me. Have you never traveled by water, Kime? He asked, a slight hint of disbelief in his voice. No, never. Okay. Kime looks genuinely frightened. My chest tightened at the thought alone. Your parents never took you? I shook my head. Then this will be your first time, he said. I looked at him in shock. Well, at least you got me awake again. Why are you scared? He asked. I just can't do it. You do not have to perform any Kea. I will tend to the spirits. All you need to do is come with me. I'm not doing that. Okay, the way she stood up, she's imposing. She's asserting dominance here. I stood up abruptly, almost knocking my chair back. You ought to listen to your mother, don't you think? He said nonchalantly. Does she know you want to take me into the river? Yes, she does. It is irresponsible to take you outside at present, especially when you wear clothes like this. Okay, everyone keeps fucking bothering me about my clothes. Can we talk about the blood? There is blood on my clothes. I think that's way worse than just the fact that it's rural clothing. Would Mom really let this happen to me? He was ready to go. I was frozen in place. Now, it was not in my best interest to upset him. Who knew how long I would have to spend with him? I closed my eyes and rubbed my cheek. Okay, just let's get it over with, I sighed, but it still took a lot of effort to move my body. Very good, he replied. I took my bags before following him out of the door. I had already passed this room when I was led to the leader's hall. It was an open space without a door, simply a large room with a round pool in the middle of it, the smooth walls of which were engraved with calligraphy. It was filled with water from the Fur River, which had been redirected here through little channels and pipes. It was perfectly still and pitch black. A Nietal, a water gate, a designated place to use the water for travel. You simply jumped in and came out somewhere else. I never used one as it took quite some skill to do so, and I never wanted to. This feels like the words of someone who doesn't know how to. Not even now. Not ever. Melina went to it. He stood behind him, not wanting to even pay the water a passing glance. She looks so done with this. Alright, come, he said, and he gestured for me to stand next to him. Beneath us, in the Nietal, was just clear water that seemed to go into the infinite depths. The engraved symbols around the perfectly circled pool lit up faintly. It made me dizzy. Ready? No, I panicked. I changed my mind, I'm not doing it. And I took a few steps back, away from the watery abyss. You will have to, Melina said. It may feel strange, but that is normal. There is nothing to be afraid of, truly. I looked into his lifeless glass eyes, as if it would somehow be any reassurance. No, I just can't, sorry. I sputtered, shaking my head, a gaze shooting back and forth between the water and him. You will close your eyes, and when you open them, it will be over, he explained. Well, I thought it over, and eventually I nodded reluctantly. I understand that. He spoke as if he was used to this, but I doubt he ever had to deal with someone like me. What makes you scared? He asked again, tilting his head. The only way he could show me some kind of expression. His voice did not sound frustrated, but I wondered if his face aligned with that. I shrugged. I don't want to go wrong, I mumbled. Nothing will go wrong. I've been doing this for over 15 years, and nothing bad has ever happened. I quietly shook my head. My sweaty hands clenched onto my dress. I closed my eyes to try and get my thoughts in order, but it did not work. Over the years, the fear had become so abstract I could barely find its place in origin anymore. Hime, you'll be okay, I promise, he said. You will have to trust me. I swallowed. He seemed kind for a member of the Astral Order. A chuckle escaped my quivering lips. I don't want to die. You will not die. You will not be hurt at all. Hold my hand, he said, reaching out for me. His dark blue gloves looked expensive. Gold threads was woven into them, giving them a strange sheen. I can't. I breathed deeply, and my hands instinctively went to my chest. He kept looking as if trying to dissect my mind. It only made it worse. Of course you can. Trust me. It's not you. It's the water. I don't trust the spirits. Then put your focus on me. I looked up into his masked face. Oh god, okay, I had to check that I was recording. I was so scared I forgot to record. I still couldn't discern any expression, but what choice did I have? The Astral Order was not exactly open to negotiation. You just did as they told you, or they would make you. Finally, I hesitantly took his hand. The warmth seeping from the glove was somewhat reassuring in the otherwise ice-cold context. Thank you. He took a step closer to the edge, taking me with him. I looked down at the pit with wide eyes. What does it feel like? Like you're floating. That is all, he replied. I squeezed his hand. I was glad he did not seem to mind. It doesn't hurt? No, not at all. I slowly crouched down by the edge. He followed, not letting go of me. What if I touch it? Go ahead. Nothing will happen. The fur does not do anything unless I want it to. I carefully reached out my hand and let my fingertip dip into the water, only for a split second. Just chilly water. Okay, let's just do it, I eventually said, bracing myself for what was to come. A gentle but firm pull, and we fell into the pool. There was no splash. My heart stopped. The cold seeped into my bones, but I did not seem to reach my senses. And as if my mind was separated from my body, and I was torn apart. The water entered my skin, pulled me to pieces, squeezed in between my cells. I became a suspension in the fur. The high that it sent me to quickly ended, and I fell back to earth. A name with a face. Very good, Kime. You can open your eyes now, Melina said. I stumbled up some stone steps as I tried to catch my breath. Milna held me under my arms to keep me from falling, as my shaky legs could barely carry me. I clenched onto his hand as if it was the only thing keeping me in the living world. My body was completely dry, even though I just stepped out of the water a second ago. I knew it worked like this. I'd heard about it. I'd seen it. It was not strange, it was normal, and it did no harm. This is what I had to tell myself. Kime, look at me. Melna gently pried his hands away from my tight grasp to hold my arms instead. I was standing before him, my hands now up to my chest, shaking. I gasped for air, not knowing where we even were. My whole body tingled. I saw mossy grass, a tree, and the sky, I think. It did not make sense. You are panicking. Take a deep breath, he said softly, putting a hand on the back of my head and making me look up. But I did not want to see his mask anymore, so I squeezed my eyes shut. That was terrifying, I managed to say between breaths. Yes, The river did not go easy on you. What a shame for your first time. Come, sit down for a moment. I'll get you some water. Water is... that's ironic. Water feels like probably the last thing I would want right now. He led me away by arm. I looked behind me. A small pool of water with stairs descending into it. We seemed to stand in the middle of a small garden. He has a fucking, quick travel thing in the back of his garden? That's cool as shit. A courtyard. The buildings around it seemed to be a house. The water behind me danced against the stone. Another water gate. He took me inside, up some wooden steps. There was a small veranda surrounding the yard. A bench, some candles on a little table, and artfully arranged plant pots of black stone. A sliding door led us into the hallway, and a thin curtain brought us into the living room, where he made me sit on the couch. There, let me take these from you, he said, and he took my backpack and purse and put them by the low table. I'll be right back. He then disappeared behind the curtain. I held my hands on my lap, palms up, and focused on breathing. I managed to ease my heart, and with every slow, deep breath, my hands and feet tingled less. Until I was okay. My hands then felt my chest, slowly moving over every rib individually to check whether they were still intact. They were, to my relief, but I couldn't help but feel something was wrong. The fur river lingered in my body for a while longer. Its black water sloshed in my head, making my thoughts drown. My mind was not quite there yet, because I did not notice Melina come in, and suddenly he was crouched in front of me and handed me a glass of water. Thank you, I whispered, but I did not drink it. I did not even want to look at it. Have you calmed down? I nodded and he sat next to me. Kind of, I muttered. I didn't want to do it. I know. Thank you for cooperating nonetheless. He crossed his legs and looked at me with tilted head. It went well, right? Did something go wrong? Nothing went wrong, Kime. You're completely fine. I slowly nodded, trying to come to terms with myself. The dread still persisted in my stomach. I could not even look at him anymore, and the water in the glass on my lap was starting to make me nauseous. Yeah, I told you. Water is a weird move right now. It is not common for a major child to be so frightened by the water gate, is it? He said, somewhat carefully. Well, yes, not exactly common, I guess. Perhaps not. I feel water in my head. Is that normal? That is normal. It will go away soon, do not worry, he assured me. I took a glance at him, only to look away again. That mask was starting to drive me crazy. Can I see your face, Melina? I did not expect anything but a cold no. He stared at me for a moment. Or I think he did. It was too hard to guess what really went on behind the mask. I suppose that is appropriate, yes, he then said, and he untied his headband. He laid it on the table consciously, not even a wrinkle inside. He then opened the upper clip of his corset, giving him room to untuck the ends of his headscarf. He detached the mask from the buttons on the fabric and finally revealed his face. Oh my god, he pretty! We have a pretty guard. He looked in his 30s, maybe early 40s, as I'd guess by his deep, velvety voice. His skin was light, lighter than mine. His lips were thin, with a healthy sheen, and his cheekbones were prominent. And, at last, his eyes. They were light in color, a pink or purple tint mixed in with the brown. The wrinkles around them were friendly, and yet he looked intimidating. Stern. He was still a spirit guide of the Astral Order, after all, and a powerful one at that. Someone that could bend the world to his will. For some reason, seeing his face made it even clearer I was not to mess with him. He unwrapped his headscarf and folded it neatly. He then shook his head and ran his hand through his grayish-brown hair to tidy it. It was neatly parted on the side and combed back. That's impressive considering how much it was like under the mask and everything. I would have, the hair would have been shit by now. Thank you, I said, relieved he was willing to allow me a human face to talk to. Are you okay? He asked, unmoving, holding his mask on his lap. Why did he ask? I'm fine. Alright, stay seated for a while. He stood up to put his coverings away. I was not particularly looking forward to wearing something so stifling and complicated. What a hassle it must be. He left the room again, giving me the opportunity to look around better. Melina's house was much like the Ministry in terms of luxury, but it was a lot more lived in. There were plants in the pots standing on the top of the dressers and tall bookshelves. On the tables were a basket of oranges and a silver syrup pitcher, neatly positioned, but proof of life. Behind me was a large window, and in the corner were glass doors to the balcony, decorated with colored glass and in the shapes of flowers going around the edges. They dressed the room in blue, green, and yellow little lights. The lights fell on the thin, translucent curtains that decorated the walls on the sides. They made the room feel like it hugged you. I had them at my home too, but these were embroidered beautifully at the lower edges and patterns were woven into their whole length. They were layered according to thickness, as was usual. There was a glass cabinet standing across from me. It stored expensive glasses, bowls, and cups. My eyes drifted along the opposite wall. A painting of a marsh landscape, preserved leaves and flower petals in frames, a hanging plant whose leaves almost reached the floor from the top of the closet. And a little statue of the god Midifu, stretching out her arms to the sky. A telephone stood on a dresser and a grandfather clock ticked away in the corner. It was 3 in the afternoon already. I moved onto my knees on the couch, leaning my arms on the backrest so I could look out the window. I was surprised by how far up we were. Below was a road, a tram drove through it. could have just used that to get here. Yeah, that would have taken much longer though. On the other side of the road were other tall buildings. I saw a cafe, a bank, some clothing stores, and offices. Above all those buildings were homes. By comparing, I figured we were on the 3rd floor. The street was full of pine trees, which provided shade to the people walking underneath. A beautiful day that I would have loved to spend at home, by the sea, sitting in my garden. But from now on, my skin was not even allowed to see the sun. You fight. I fight. You fight. We fight. I don't fight. I don't usually fight. When did you last eat? Nella suddenly asked. He stood in the archway of the living room, holding the curtain to the side. Oh, some people in the order give me food around noon, so I'm good, I said, coming back down onto the couch from the window. The fur in my head calmed a bit, and now I was just tired. Can I see my bedroom? I asked. Of course. Follow me, he said, taking my luggage. I followed him back into the hallway, past the kitchen and dining room. More plants, books, and paintings. Still, everything looked somewhat sterile. Do you live here by yourself? I asked, peeking into the rooms. Yes, he said. You're out often? He gave me a side eye as we went through the long, narrow hallway. Serving the mages demands all my attention. He took me to the door at the very end of the hallway. You fight too, right? I asked. He stood still and turned himself fully towards me. You wear trousers, I added bluntly, looking him up and down. Whether seeing his face actually made me feel better now, I started to doubt. Milena smirked, but it was a change so subtle that I might have imagined it. I used to. I am specialized in combative Kea. I was in the defense forces. That is why I was deemed suitable to guard you. I knew this already, and it made my heart sink. I felt my heart within my fingertips, a void in my stomach. Have you killed people? I found myself asking. I did not want to know, and yet the words slipped out regardless. What a question. Right. Sorry. Let me quickly do something. Oh, nope, I can't. Oops. Yes, I have taken lives when it was necessary to protect me and my people. Well, I appreciated his honesty. I bit my cheek. That does not mean I am a danger to you. You understand that, correct? I nodded. You are not so fond of the spirit guides, hmm? He opened the door and I followed him in. It was a spacious yet cozy bedroom. One neatly made single bed, a dresser, a vanity, wardrobe, and a door to a balcony across the room. You have a balcony? Hell yeah. On the bed lay a packet of clothes tied together with a ribbon, along with a paper bag. The room had been prepared for me. Not really, no, I said. Kea is very dangerous. I went to my packet. A little card with my name on it was slid under the ribbon. My mother's handwriting. It can be. He put my bag and purse by the bed. That is why we wield it with the utmost care. Even with care, you can do terrible things. I stood stiff, as if it was a barrier between me and everything in this house. We looked at each other. I was anticipating being scolded. He was expressing nothing but curiosity. Is that why you never learned it? You think it is inherently violent? He asked. I did learn it, and it is violent, I blurted out. The spirits you manipulate are unpredictable. Milena tilted his head at me. And that is why we have rules, Kime. The spirits do not care about rules. They do weird things. I could not help but raise my tone at the end, my confidence leaving me. They can, but that is exceptionally rare. Milena just stood there, looking at me with an air of amusement. Are you never afraid? I felt like my words stopped making sense, but it might have just been my thoughts getting tangled up. The amusement disappeared. What happened to you, Kime? He asked. I realized how obvious it was, but I'd never been asked that. It had not mattered in years. Nothing. Never mind. Understood. You should not strain yourself thinking about such issues today, then. He put a hand on my upper back. You hit your head quite hard this morning. You better rest. I nodded, but became lost in thought, staring at the carpet. I just don't want anyone to hurt because of me. Please be careful, I sputtered. My head hurt, and so did my heart now. I am very careful. There's nothing to worry about, he smiled. Oh. Okay, I don't know why, but the sudden switch from the tied up hair to the loose hair just jump scared me. I sighed and plopped onto the bed, taking the clips out of my hair and letting it fall over my shoulder. I'd like to be alone now, if you don't mind, I mumbled. Of course, you can move freely throughout the house, but know that I'm always aware of your presence. I raised an eyebrow at him. I will have proper privacy, right? I asked slowly. Of course, Kime. Okay, and what am I supposed to do here? I solemnly played with my own hair, absentmindedly running my fingers through it. For now, you should rest. Your mother will visit you later this afternoon, and I will call you for dinner. Tell me if you need anything, he said. Alright, thank you. And so, the click of the door ushered in the complete silence around me. This is where I would stay now, indefinitely. And I wish that I held Rui a little longer. To be continued. So I think that's it for the demo. Yes, thank you for playing, a game by Unti. Thanks to Nameless LV, and oh, that was a little bit short. I did not get to read the second thanks, but that's fine. So, let me switch here. So, that was the game. That was the demo, at least. I loved it. The art of this game is great. The story is very intriguing. Obviously, this is just the demo. It was just 2 chapters, I think. So, we haven't learned a whole lot yet. But I'm really curious to see where this goes once the final game is out. So, once again, thank you, Unti, for letting me play this on stream. And thank you everyone for watching. I will try to get this edited into a VOD in the near future. But until then, thank you for joining me, and bye-bye.